Here's Precalculus Concept Lesson 2C under arithmetic sequences. We're going to use the formula for the general term of an arithmetic sequence, and there's 3 boxes. So let's consider the following here. Let's figure this out. The general term of an arithmetic sequence. So consider this sequence 2, 7, 12, 17. Hopefully you see that that is definitely an arithmetic sequence. So let's label these things as what we know. We know that this is the very first term, a sub 1. We know that this is a sub 2. We know that this is a sub 3. This is a sub 4. And dot, dot, dot means it continues on in that fashion forever and ever. So I know that the first term is a value of 2. And I also know that the common difference here is positive 5. Right? To get from there to there, I'd add 5, and then add 5. So I know that the very first term is equal to the number 2. And I know that the common difference is equal to the number 5. Well, I want to pose something to you. Couldn't I rewrite this second term, the number 7? Isn't 7 the same thing as the very first term, which is 2, plus 1 difference, right? 7 is equal to 2 plus 1 difference. That's true because 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 makes 7. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, look at the number 12. That's the same thing as the original term, 2, plus 2 differences. Do you see that? I have 2 differences because 2 times 5 is 10 plus the 2 gives me that 12. Check it out, the 17, right? So the 17, which is the fourth term, is equal to the first term plus 3 differences, right? Because 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2. So in general, right, if I'm looking for the general term, so the a sub n, it would be whatever the very first term is plus a certain number of differences. Right? Well, what do we notice? Like the very first or the second term, which is 7, is equal to 1 difference away. The third term, which is 12, is 2 differences. The fourth term, which is 17, is 3 differences. So this should be n minus 1 differences. And in fact, that is the formula, okay? So we want to write this down. So this formula, this is called the general term, or I like to call it the fast forward formula. So I call this the FFF, the fast forward formula. So it says this. It says that any term that you're looking for in the sequence can be defined by the very first term plus n minus 1 differences. This is very, very important, and we want to make sure that we have this down in our notes. Okay, I want to point something out to you that this n down here is the same as that n right there. This a sub 1 stands for the very first term, which I think we all know that. And this D over here stands for the common difference, which I think we all know that too. And of course, these ends match up. And we're going to use this in the next example. Okay, here is box number 2. Notice I have this arithmetic sequence. I have 8, 11, 14, 17. So to go from 8 to 11, I would add 3. To go from 11 to 14, I would add 3. To go from 14 to 17, I would add 3. So I'm curious as to what is the 35th term. Well, I sure as heck don't want to go all the way out to the 34th term just to get to the 35th, right? So instead I'm going to use the formula. The formula says this: a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus the quantity of n minus 1 times d. Let's plug in what I know, okay? A sub 35, right? I don't know what this answer is, right? I know a sub 35. I don't know what it is. But it has to be the very first term, which is the number 8, plus how many I want. If I want the 35th term, then I'm going to take n minus 1 of that answer, so that's going to be 34 differences. And the difference here is 3. So the 35th term, a sub 35, has to just be 34 times 3 is 102. And then I'm going to add 8 to that. So therefore, a sub 35 is equal to 110. This is why I call this the fast forward formula, because I was able to just fast forward all the way up to the 35th term. And I could skip all those terms in between 4 and 34, basically. So we're going to use this a lot in arithmetic sequences. Okay, box number 3, this is a U-try. It says find the 24th term of this arithmetic sequence. So you're given 6, 1, -4, -9. This is a sub 1, this is a sub 2, this is a sub 3, this is a sub 4. I want to know what the a sub 24th, what is this value going to be? So you need to use the formula we just learned in box 2. Hopefully you got the right answer, but if not, I'm using the formula a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. The very first term, I can look here and find that's the number 6. I want 23 differences of negative 5. That's what that says. So I'm going to do 6 plus 23 times negative 5, and you should end up with negative 109.